gives us one odds ratio. Odds ratio, in this case, of 2.4. Different from the 2.0 we saw if we just control for age or just control for smoking. Now we see if we control for age, cholesterol, smoking, and blood pressure, males have roughly 2.5 times the odds of getting heart disease than females. So we'll pick up on this slide on next week. So let's see if we have any questions. Chris asked, could you talk briefly about the degrees of freedom mean if you have time? Yeah, we have a few seconds. And I'll go back to the models that we've seen so far. Look over these last dozen slides that we have. At the interaction part. So here's a model that has two terms into it, male and packs. The previous model has males, packs 1, packs 2, and packs 3. Degrees of freedom, essentially in a modeling sense, correspond to the number of risk factors, I should say the number of statistical variables you have in a model. So in this case, we have an intercept term, a coefficient for male, a coefficient for packs 1, a coefficient of packs 2, a coefficient of packs 3. Each of these covariates, male, packs 1, packs 2, and packs 3, have corresponding to them 1 degree of freedom. What I don't have for you is the previous part of this printout. So let me go back to this model here. Here is a model with just two covariates, age and sex, male and age 55. Don't have the previous part of that. What I don't, Chris, is have the first part of the printout. Maybe if I can hold your question. SAS printout from not just the piece I'm showing you, which is the fitted model. I'd like to show you the -2 log L pieces, the global null hypothesis. Give you a sense of how many degrees of freedom are associated with the model. What this table is showing you is that there's 1 degree of freedom associated with age and 1 degree of freedom associated with sex, because each of them are being represented by a single term. In the last two examples, I have smoking represented by packs 1, packs 2, and packs 3. Each of them have 1 degree of freedom. So this model is spending 3 degrees of freedom on smoking. Well, if I just put packs in the equation, it's only allowing 1 degree of freedom. So let me show you those tables, this printout again next week with the previous part that I'm not showing you, the global null hypothesis, the value of -2 log L, to try to answer your question, what degrees of freedom mean. Essentially what it means in a modeling sense is the difference between the model with the covariates and the model without the covariates. That's going to be easier to explain when I have that other piece of output. So let's hold that off until then. So next week, we'll be talking about degrees of freedom, we'll be talking about interaction terms, and we'll be talking about models that involve many risk factors. So what I'm going to ask probably Erin to do is hold the homework exercise. I did have one last homework exercise one new homework exercise that I wanted you to think about. 1 second thought, Erin, why don't we send it out? But don't spend more than 2 or 3 minutes looking at it. Those of you who are familiar with models, the questions are going to be very simple to answer. For those of you who are not familiar with regression models, I don't want you spending much time right now thinking about that exercise. So, Erin, we'll pass it out now. We'll send it out later. But no one really has to do the exercise until the following week. So we'll give it to you now to think about, and then we'll talk about the idea of controlling for multiple confounders next time. So we'll send out the homework now, but we won't ask you to do anything with it this week. Okay? Any other last questions I can answer before we cut off? If you do, you can type them in. If not, you can always send me an email, as I mentioned before. I'm happy to try to answer questions that way. Otherwise, it's dark here in Boston, 5:30. It's winter time almost. I'm sure it's still a beautiful day in Hawaii, and I'm not sure what the weather is like in Alaska today. So enjoy the rest of your day. I've got to get ready for another lecture I'm giving at 7 o'clock here, so I'm going to shut down. Erin, I'll stay on for a few minutes if you want to discuss anything. But for the rest of you, I wish you a great day, a great week, and we'll pick up where we left next week. So have a great day, everyone. And I'll let you guys log off, and I'll just hang on for a few seconds to talk to Erin and patients.